All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to cover the topic of eating for life and lifestyle as a bodybuilder and how that relates to your family. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a father of 5. We have 5 beautiful children. They're almost all out of the house. And I was very influential in raising them and feeding them and clothing them and bathing them and paying for their stuff and making sure that the house was ready and safe and doors were locked and all those dad things, right? Then fast forward, I got into natural bodybuilding after a lot of failed attempts of getting fit. You know, the dad struggle of you get fat, you get unhealthy, you get that cloudy brain, and you're like, oh man, I just need to get my act together. So then you kind of find eventually that you got to latch onto something. And for me, I latched onto the philosophy and the theory of high-intensity training in Mike Benser. It's a whole other story. But then when it comes to the nutrition, that's really what I want to talk about, is the nutrition aspect of bodybuilding and how that relates to your family. For other people who don't practice a bodybuilding lifestyle, in the kitchen. And this is really important because if you want to get healthy, you've got to make good choices for yourself first. And you got to stick to those choices. And then you got to deal with the consequences of your past living in the cupboards. Meaning that you've already made a bunch of decisions and you've already got food and lifestyle things that are just like lurking in the cupboards that your kids, your wife, your dog, they're eating those residuals in the cupboards. So when you look at the cupboards, for example, you might see an old can of, let's say, cashews. Which cashews aren't bad, but dude, be careful with those cashews, right? Yeah, because back in the day, I would think, oh, cashews are healthy. I'm immune to eating cashews. I can eat as many as I want. Not realizing the calorically dense nature of cashews. Another example is that dreaded baking cupboard where you've got 5 or 6 bags of partial like Reese's Pieces chocolate chips or actual chocolate chips or M&Ms or whatever, and there's for baking. But y'all know what happens at 10 o'clock at night. You go to that baking cupboard and you grab a handful of Starburst, and you're like, oh, these are kind of hard, but we need to get them eaten because they've been here for a while, or a handful of chocolate chips. And then the next thing you know, you're like, well, I think I'll do some chocolate chips and peanut butter. And there's this slippery slope. So when you are living this lifestyle, eventually, as you work through all that crap that is in the cupboards, your wife and your kids may still have that in the cupboards, but that doesn't mean that you have to eat it, and it really has no effect at all on what you guys do for meal planning. So from that standpoint, when it comes to breakfast, you're just doing a normal breakfast like everybody else. You're doing a bowl of oatmeal or cereal and eggs. And when you are doing your meal planning and you're buying stuff at the grocery store, you just don't buy bacon. Okay? Just don't buy bacon. Don't buy donuts and don't buy muffins, because guys, we've got oatmeal. Guys, we've got regular cereal. Guys, we've got regular milk. And the family can adjust, and what's going to happen is it's not a bad thing. That's a good thing as a dad and as a husband. You need to facilitate others in your family making good choices. So it starts with you. It starts with what you're paying for in your family. So I would first say, don't say to yourself, well, I'm doing bodybuilding, but the kids and my wife and everybody else, they just eat like garbage. Well, why? Why are you, whether you're doing bodybuilding or not, why are you allowing that to take place in your home? That's just bad parenting. And it's going to come to bite you in the butt, because You're gonna have unhappy kids. You're gonna have a wife that, feels maybe not so sexy, and you're just out of sync with each other. So that is the most important thing, is that you are an example of health. And remember, you're paying for it. So whatever goes in the cupboards is something that you absolutely have a say in, not just for bodybuilding, but for overall health. So then you get to like dinner and say, well, Dad, what are we having for dinner? Well, guess what? We're not going to Culver's. We are not going to Freddy's. And we're not going to Amigos. We are not going to McDonald's. We're going to make food. And if everyone's like, it's one of those, this happens a lot, where you it's everybody's, all men for themselves, all children for themselves, all women for themselves. People might be making their own food for dinner because of just circumstances. Again, same thing. What's in the cupboards? Maybe Dad's having sweet potatoes and chicken. And guess what? Guys, we got plenty of sweet potatoes. Hey kids, there's like 7 sweet potatoes in the oven. And if they are like, oh, gross, sweet potatoes, that's a problem, okay? There's nothing inherently wrong with sweet potatoes. There's nothing inherently wrong with broccoli. There's nothing inherently wrong with, go down the quote unquote healthy foods. But there could be a culture that you're fighting against that has nothing to do with actual good, with like good health in your home. You're just fighting a culture of, well, but the so-and-sos, they go to Wendy's on Monday night because it's family night at Wendy's. Well, guys, guess what? We don't go to Wendy's Monday nights because I don't want all that garbage. I don't want to pay $50 or $60 for a bunch of garbage food. And then you're going to be happy in the moment. We're going to get home, and then you're still going to go to the cupboards and you're still going to eat stuff. You're going to snack late at night, and you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to be grumpy. So these are all dad things and husband things and parenting things that you need to be aware of, regardless of whether or not you're doing natural bodybuilding. So just make good choices for yourself, so that those good choices spill over into your family. And then if they go off the rails and they're eating cookies or or whatever, no judgment. That's okay. Just they'll realize by your example that it's all in a sense of balance, and awareness is the biggest thing. Awareness of what we're putting in the cupboards and what we're putting in our tummies. So with that, I hope this message finds you well as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, or whatever you are. Make good choices. Natural bodybuilding is one of the greatest things that you can do as a dad and as a husband and as a father. Dad and father are the same thing, sorry. So that your family can be successful in the things that they decide to do for themselves. That's all I got. Peace out.